And welcome back to Casual Antiques. So today what I want to talk about is an area of collecting called trench art. So what trench art was, it's kind of started in the First World War, and the shells and the bullet casings and so on tended to all be brass. And sitting in the trenches for hour on hour and day on end with nothing really going on, an art form was created, and people were repurposing the shell case. So they would cut them down and make them into ashtrays. They would make them into vases, which is the obvious thing, and so on. And a trench art, we'll talk about this again in the future as well, but I wanted to talk about these two pieces. There are items of trench art that are literally worth in the thousands of pounds of money. Trench art is a great area to collect because it's reasonable. It's very cheap to get into. So these two pieces come under the banner of trench art. They're both First World War, but these were manufactured. So these were made in factories for soldiers in the trenches and so on, and they're just wonderful items, very small little intricate items. First thing we're going to look at is not a lipstick, it's a cigarette lighter made by a company called the Parr Company Manufacturing, and what it is, a little cigarette lighter, as you can see, the little wick there and the flint there, and that would be kept in a pocket of someone in the trenches. Back in those days, as we've heard before, people smoked a lot, and that would be a very useful item to have in the trenches. Well protected, very well made item actually. So if we're talking First World War, this item is at least 102 years old. So it's a very well made item because it would still work. And then we have this one. So this is a what's called a Vesta. So what a Vesta is, it's a box. Just that hinge is amazing. That still works as though the day it was created over 100 years ago. And what a Vesta box is, it's a matchbox, an old-time matchbox. On the bottom, you have a jagged edge. You keep your matches inside here so they're nice and dry, they're kept dry. Take a match out. You have the bottom there where you can strike the match and away you go. You've got a lit match. And this has a little relief of hunting dogs on it. And again, it would be manufactured. This wouldn't have been made in the trenches. But again, it would have been manufactured and made for soldiers who were going to go into the trenches. Beautiful item. Wonderful items, these things. If you think what they've seen, in the 1418 war, they're kind of special. So what would you pay for items like this today? Trench art is cheap to get into. You could start off at £5 or £10, but these are a bit more special than the £5-10 items. Probably about £30 each at an antique fair. And at that kind of money, you can build up a collection very, very, very quickly. Lovely thing. And I've noticed that today, when I take trench art to antique fairs and so on, the younger people, people in their late teens, early 20s, are getting into this stuff. And once stuff disappears into collections, it doesn't come out. So, if you're going to get all this kind of stuff, you want to snap it up. You don't want to mess about at antique fairs. It is getting rarer. And let's remember, nothing haunts us like the antique we didn't buy.